In this video, I'm going to share with you the levels of masculinity that I've experienced myself, how I floated in these levels, and ultimately how you can take the journey of experiencing these levels of masculinity within yourself and notice the difference between the money you're able to make, the fulfillment you're able to have, the peace you're able to experience, and the harmony within yourself and the relationships you attract in your life. Let's get into it. Hi, my name is Nakula Das, and I help men master their S3X energy so you can become a powerhouse both in and outside the bedroom and ultimately release your masculine leadership and attract the lifestyle that you deserve to have. Go take the free S3X transmutation guide. The link is in the description below, and that way you can get started on your journey to S3X mastery, which is the key to moving up the ladder of masculinity. So we're going to talk about 3 phases of masculinity. And by the way, I've seen and I've trained men to go through these phases, and the results are incredible. When you leave the first phase and you get rid of the vices and being controlled by your lust, your fears, your limitations, the world and all of its cultures and all of its programming that it wants to place to you. I've seen men achieve higher levels of income within 60 to 90 days, doubling and tripling their sales and their income in their businesses. I've seen men repair their relationships and go from moving from, watching adult videos or webcam girls to having great relationships with their wives or attracting new relationships that are in harmony with who they are in that moment. I've seen them stop searching for the approval of others and still hanging on to boy and childlike behaviors and step up in responsibility, which is equaled better health, a better bank account, and more vibrancy and prosperity in their life. And I've seen men grow closer to God in the spiritual essence, not in a religious way, but in a true experience, a direct experience. So what is the first phase of masculinity? Well, it's more like a child, a feminine man or a boy. What is the symptoms of a boy or a feminine man, a man who is still trapped in his childlike ego? He's ruled by his lust. As men, we have lust. By the way, this is largely true for women as well, but it manifests a bit differently. But the core is the same. Are you ruled by lust? Are you consistently seeking pleasure and comfort? Do you wish for things to be easy rather than stepping up and recognizing that nature itself is growing? Everything is growing. A boy stops growing. The average man is this man. The average man statistically stops learning, educating, or growing or challenging themselves or their beliefs in any way at the age of 25. That means whatever most men are after they've hit the age of 25 is largely what they will be for the rest of their life. That is not nature's way. Look at a tree, it's always growing. Look at the animals, they're always growing. The entire universe itself is growing and expanding. You are part and parcel of that universe, of this world. So if you're not growing, you are essentially stuck. And that's how most men feel. I'm stuck in my relationship. I'm stuck in my health. I'm stuck in my finances. I'm stuck in my business. I'm stuck in my emotions. I'm still carrying emotions from when I was 16. I'm still thinking about the good old days rather than creating new days filled with joy and prosperity. Another symptom of the boy is that you still search for approval of others. You still determine who you are by your social circle rather than your own inner values. You haven't discovered who you are internally. And so therefore, every little thing that comes your way, you're thrown off. The next political party is, now this is it. And then the next fad or trend, this must be it. And you're swayed like a boat without a captain in the ocean. Every wave comes and you are feeling every wave and every trend, even though we know that there are timeless principles that transcend trends. You haven't discovered that yet if you're still a boy or a feminine man. You're ruled by lack and insecurity, and you're ruled by trauma. You haven't healed. You haven't forgiven. You haven't let go. You carry grudges. You're still upset that mom wasn't the woman she needed to be, or dad wasn't the man he needed to be, or cousin Susie said something to you 3 days ago or 3 years ago, and you're still ruled by those words. These are all symptoms of someone who is stuck, who is no longer growing. And as you continue to avoid growth through the constant seeking of different pleasures, let me binge watch this show, let me smoke that, let me drink this, let me, find approval on dating apps. All of this stuff is all designed to just mask the fact that you have pain, you feel bored because you don't know who you are. And that's why you latch on to so many things. Look at the movements of the world right now. Everybody's got a movement for something. The big toe movement, the little toe movement, the person who wears glasses needs to be recognized. The person who doesn't have glasses, who you're sleeping with. Now the whole world needs to celebrate it. It's like all it is a manifestation of please approve me, please approve me, please approve me, please say I'm worthy, please say I'm somebody. And you are worthy and you are somebody, but it has to be discovered from within. So you can graduate from this. And the symptom of graduation is that you give up some of your vices. You start to mature. You start to take on more responsibilities. You start living for pleasure and you start discovering purpose. This begins to move you. You start to live for others. And then you become like a masculine man. I call it the Andrew Tate archetype, right? You become strong as a man. You start to lead. You lead yourself in ways. But here's the deal. You're largely still leading for your own gain and benefit. So yes, you make more money as a man. As you step up as a man, you will make more money naturally. You will be more attractive to women naturally. This is what a lot of men have discovered with NoFap. Hey, if I give this particular vice up and I start to retain my S3X energy, I'm more attractive to women. Yeah, because you're now becoming a man. You're no longer sitting in front of the screen playing video games. You're no longer ruled by your vices. You're no longer avoiding responsibility, but you're taking on responsibility. And that's how you make money. That's how you attract. That's how you create in this world. The challenge with the masculine man is that you're still leading for yourself. And that's why the masculine man, and I know I coach a lot of them. I've got some clients that are $100 million net worth in real estate. I've got clients that are doctors and plastic surgeons making a few million a year in their bank account. I've got clients that are multiple six-figure financial advisors and real estate people. And I've trained many other coaches who are super successful, but yet they still have something missing because they still create pain and unnecessary traumas for themselves. Now, this world will always have some challenge and some pain. Don't avoid suffering, but don't create unnecessary suffering. And the masculine man will still create his own suffering because he's still out of touch with the spiritual element of who he is. So the masculine man, if you're a boy, if you find that you have those symptoms, and I myself have been in all three. I've been a boy completely led by my lust, completely led by my vices, completely trying to avoid responsibility, feeling afraid that the challenges in my life I can't handle. Will I ever get out of debt? Will I ever heal this pain? Will I ever give up this vice? I've been there. This is not unique to you. Every single person on the planet is going through this. The only difference is not even your desire. Every person desires to get out of that pain too. Your desires and your well wishes and your intentions, who gives a shit? The only thing that matters, the only thing that gets you to graduate up in life is the actions you take and the character that you develop, the integrity you develop. That's it. If anybody's telling you anything else, they're just simply playing into your ego, which is, by the way, what the masculine man will do if he hasn't graduated to the third level, because the masculine man, while he's a leader, he's still leading for himself. He will be trapped by his own followers, because he will need the approval of them. He seeks his leadership from outside, so therefore he measures his leadership by the amount of people following him and not the quality of people following him, or not the quality of person he is. Here's when you know that you've reached the third stage of masculinity. You'll even give up your own followers to do the right thing. There was a famous monk, Chaitanya, from India. He lived about 500 years ago, and he had a prayer. He didn't say much. He just had a simple prayer, and one of the verses in the prayer, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but he says, "I seek your service. I don't seek any amount of women or followers." Now, naturally, he had thousands and thousands of followers, and today there are whole movements, people following him and his instructions and his way of life. But he didn't seek it. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. He had an audience of one. One of my mentors said that to me. Who's your audience? Do you have an audience of many or one? Meaning, is your audience God, or your inner values, your heart? Or is your audience the world and its worldly ways? Because if that's your audience, and I experienced this in my time in politics, and it's why I got out of politics. I got involved because I was standing for something that I believed in, but then I noticed over time I was just starting to play to the audience, even though I didn't necessarily agree with the way that we were doing it. I'm not about creating more division. I'm not about making fun of people. I'm not about those things. It hurts my heart. So now I've reached finally a point after enough pain and mistakes to go, I don't care how many followers or subscribers, or if I end up in the forest by myself, I will live for one audience, and that is God. Because at the end of the day, that's who actually provides for you. That's who creates for you. That's who judges you. I had one student coming through the Powerhouse Man training, and he's made some mistakes. And he said, "You think I'm a good person or I'm a bad person that just does good things?" You know, what he's kind of going through that battle. And then his discovery was, I think at the end of the day, I'll never really know, but you know, there are higher powers that hold that scorecard. We were using the analogy of like a boxing match, how it goes to the judges. And I think there's some truth in that. At the end of the day, it's going to go to the judges, but you can do everything you can to win the war of this world. And the war of this world is not some physical war, it's a spiritual war. And this is the graduation to the masculine man at the top of the pyramid, or the divine masculine, which I still sometimes cringe at that word only because it's kind of lost its meaning, but I've been using it more and more because I don't have any other language right now. Whether you call it the divine masculine, the spiritual masculine, the guy who is actualized or who becomes realized in his spiritual essence or his true divinity, that his true position is actually a servant of God. And that's there in all traditions. In the Christian tradition, they teach men that men follows God, and if he does that, then naturally the woman in his life will be protected. You see, a masculine man, okay, a boy doesn't protect anybody. A boy is simply a boy, and a boy needs protection. So a boy is living for pure pleasure of the body. He is living selfishly. He is run by jealousy, lust, trauma, insecurity. He can't protect anyone, including himself, at the truest nature, at the realest, level, because he will be swayed by everything that this world offers, which is generally temptation in every step. The masculine man, he can lead, he can protect, he can provide. That's why he becomes attractive. He's generally going to be able to provide an income and experiences. He can generally be strong-willed. So he will become attractive. He will have riches. He will have some kind of fame because he will be able to provide that. So he will be attractive to as far as social status and all of those things. But he will also rule as being a tyrant and not a lover. He will, in a way, make his people follow rather than give them the free will. Follow me if you want. I'm not bending to you. The masculine man will be able to provide maybe emotionally a little bit, but more at the physical level. He'll be able to provide for you physically. The divine masculine, the masculine who is in touch with God and who understands he's ruled by spirit, not his flesh. He's ruled by his inner values and not what people have just told him he should be ruled by. Consumerism mainly is what the message is of this world. Consume, consume, consume. Buy this, buy that, buy this. Go here, go that. More followers, more friends, more this, more that. Rather than quality, essence, intellectual development, and spiritual realization. See, that's not good for the economic engine that currently runs our system. So they don't want you knowing those things. The spiritual man or the divine masculine, he's going to be able to provide as well physically, but he's also going to be able to provide and protect emotionally and spiritually. You see, he's going to provide more than a physical experience, but he's also going to provide resources and education. He's going to provide wisdom. He's going to be someone that people feel that they can go to when they're in trouble and talk to. There's going to be something that attracts, even the masculine man is attracted to this man because he is going to be able to provide contentment and peace. He's going to be able to help them transcend limitations and see beyond the physical world. That is the difference between the divine masculine and the masculine. You see, the divine masculine holds the highest self-worth. That's why he's able to practice semen retention and no fap, because he's like, hey, if you're not going to honor that energy, I ain't giving it to you. Because he honors himself and what's within him. He no longer sees himself as an individual. He's no longer living for himself, but he recognizes that this body is simply a house in which his power, God, lives. And so he protects that. He becomes even a protector of God. He becomes a lover of God. He commands the highest respect from everyone around him, not because he's demanding it or even wants it or seeks it, but naturally people in his vibration feel it and they go, hey, I better respect this guy, not because I must respect this guy, but I'm naturally drawn to respect this person. Now, people who are evil-minded, people who are totally selfish, people who are totally trapped in their lust, they won't respect that man. They may even try to kill him, whether his reputation or him as a being on this planet. We've seen that with some of the highest spiritual people on the planet because they can't stand to see his light because it calls them out. They cringe in his presence. But those with even a little bit of consciousness within them, those with a little bit of blessing within them, they respect that man. He's ruled by his inner world and not my materialistic cultures. He only has an audience of one. He's not ruled by the current trends or the latest fashions or the latest gadgets or the latest political sways. He is ruled by God. And it doesn't mean that he doesn't make mistakes or that he hasn't messed up in the past. I bet you he has. If you look at some of the greatest saints in all spiritual traditions, I believe it was St. Thomas Aquinas in the Christian tradition. That was the high school I went to, St. Thomas Aquinas. He was a great womanizer. I don't know if that word makes sense for that, but he was a womanizer. Many of the saints in all traditions were players, in today's language, were drug addicts, were men of very, very demonic or cruel hearts or natures. But by taking this true journey and discovering their own divinity within them and discovering God within themselves, not as a book, not as a religion, but as a true experience, they have become some of the most saintly people to walk the planet and set the culture and have, quote unquote, saved the souls of many. And to me, I don't want to talk about saving people and like as some, like act of that's people can only save themselves, but because they become such an example for the people that they came in contact with, people had such high levels of respect that just by being in their presence, they decided that they would also change their heart. And naturally, what happens with a changed heart? Naturally, good things come into your life. The prosperity comes, the peace comes, the fulfillment comes, the purpose comes. See, the divine masculine is ruled by purpose and service. The masculine is ruled by his egoistic goals, fame and riches for the sake of fame and riches. And the boy is ruled by fear and trauma and lust. Now, if you're anything like me, you could probably see all three playing out into your life in different times, in different areas. The key is feeding the divine masculine. That's what I do in my Powerhouse Man training and my S3X alchemy training, and ultimately with all the men that want to learn from me, is they come and they invest in themselves, time, money, energy, to discover the divine masculine within them so that they can be free of vice. They can be great fathers or husbands or boyfriends. They can be great leaders of their business and their congregations, and they can be of great service in the world, which Jesus said, first seek the kingdom of heaven, and then all things shall be given to you, and the kingdom is within you. So you must be able to and be willing to invest and seek in yourself to get back to your true essence as a divine masculine. That is what you are called to be. That is what nature has designed you to be. And you'll see how awesome life can be when you align with that. So if you're ready to take that journey, let's have an initial conversation. Let's make sure we're a right fit. You can go book a call with me. I'll leave my schedule in the description below. You've got some free resources to tap into as well. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so that way you can stay tuned and keep plugged into this conversation and this message. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next video.